Another day, another bike ride. Happy shallow Halloween. This beloved holiday where we give your children the most healthiest of snacks so they can go on to become promising young adults and fulfill their destiny full of sugar. Truly the best of intentions. Cold and crisp, not too much wind. No, as I touched on in one of my other videos though, a lot of people don't realize that Halloween, at its core, is a satanic holiday. And that's a big reason why I don't celebrate it myself since I was a kid, because when I was a kid I didn't know any better. Now I know better, that I'm older. And if you celebrate Halloween, it's not like I hate you or anything. I take things very literally, and the gravity of things and my choices a lot. Like I take each choice as heavy, kinda. A lot of people don't think the same way as I do in that. They think they're just dressing up or giving candy to make kids happy. It's like, yeah, you might be it on the base thing. But there's a lot of history behind Halloween that people don't know, too. I won't get into it all, but you could do your own research and figure it out. There's a lot of channels out there that'll talk about it. Maybe not a lot. There's a lot of censorship around certain things. But it's whatever. It's not something I can control, so it's not something I overly care about. I care, but I care about my own choices, but you can't control what other people are going to do. Back in the day, though, the original Halloween ritual, to my understanding, was on this day, witches would come to your door, and I don't know if they said trick or treat, but they would essentially give an ultimatum that the house make a sacrifice to them, maybe a human sacrifice or an animal sacrifice, so they don't incur the wrath of the witch and whatever the witch is going to do to them. So if you complied, which is trick or treat, basically give me a treat or you're going to get tricked. If you comply, you're going to have shit not done to you, but also you made a sacrifice. And therefore, in a lot of ways, you're betraying your faith. Because if you're a Christian back then, you're betraying your faith because you're buying into it like a Satanism kind of, by appeasing their ritual. That's like a very slim explanation. I'm not super educated on it, but there's other people who can go at length and tell you exactly what it is. For instance, there's a guy that does it on YouTube. He's called Uprising Revival. That's one of his channels. And there's another channel he does called An Eye for an Eye. It's basically a lot of like alternative, I use alternative in quotations, it's opinion that inevitably does get censored, and I'm against that. I don't know how people can stand to walk. This way. This car. Go, dude. Fucking goober, holy shit. Nothing like driving it 7 kilometers an hour in your car. Like, holy. I can't know he's turning either because he didn't even signal. I checked. Thinks he's doing me a solid by letting me go and creeping behind me, but he's just freaking me out. I don't know how many costumes we're going to see coming down Bloor. So what I said earlier too, that's like one part of it. Another part of it is like spiritually wise, the veil between worlds, like this world and the spirit realm, it's supposed to be thinnest on either today or the day after. And fuck you. This guy's an asshole. Fuck you. Oh, use the bad word, demonetized. Gonna have to cut that one out of the vid. Big truck in front of the dude, and he needs to block the entire lane. I say demonetized, not even demonetized, because I don't monetize my videos anyway. Cancelled. Cancelled off the internet. I could have, but it's not just Halloween either. I seen that person in the Santa Claus costume. There's a lot. Even Christmas has a lot of satanic elements to it. There's a lot of holidays I no longer celebrate because I found out more about the actual holidays and I just won't do them anymore. They're all about consumerism and they're all about like deception in one way or another. Even Christmas, they want kids to believe that a man called Santa Claus brings their kid presents and not the parents, and you're supposed to like be quiet about it, and it's like it's supposed to be a thing where you find out when you're older, oh, my parents really loved me and stuff, but it's also like your parents lied to you. He's not real. You know, there's a lot more symbolism to it than that as you get deeper, but I'm not trying to offend anyone's beliefs in these videos either. Just trying to raise a little awareness as to why I no longer celebrate these days. It also puts like a lot of pressure on families who are lower income to come up with presents. You know, the kids expect presents. And it's like some families just can't afford what the kids want. So there's a lot of social pressure that comes from it too. And there's like a lot of guilt of like, oh, my mom or dad doesn't have a lot of money, so we couldn't have Christmas, so I'm not as good as the other kids. You know what I mean? I took a short break. I took my first break in 8 days of recording yesterday, and I didn't record yesterday because my hand is hurting a little bit. My right hand, my wrist, just hurts when I put pressure on it. Been trying to rest it a little bit. Yesterday it hurt like much worse. Today it's only like light pain. And I'm putting less pressure on it today than the other days. It's always an option to ride like this too on your bike, an underhanded grip. But then you can't get your brakes as easily. It's more of a road bike thing, this kind of grip. You get similar grips to that, where it puts more of the strain on your forearm. See, like you have this guy. Make it. Yes, I will. Such a nice night. Air feels clean. Should have put some Vicks Vapor Rub up my nose before I came out. It's a trick to stop congestion in the winter. Allows you to breathe through your nose. Nothing going on here. No need to wait for the whole light. There's some lights you should just wait for anyway. Almost would have been just about the same thing if I waited for that light back there. Not really, actually, but still, wouldn't have been that different because I would have had a lot of speed from the downhill approaching this, which I'm getting all back right now anyway, but still. I can't be bothered though. If there's nothing going on, I'm not waiting just to appease people that might comment, oh, you ran red, you know? Like, oh boy. Should watch other cyclist YouTubers, especially in New York. Those guys run reds like it's going out of style. Which I can kind of understand in some ways anyway. There's so much traffic that eventually you just say like, F it, you know? It's just a rat race. Cross. Hate those poles there. Ruins the turn. Had to stop the recording for a moment there. Well, feels like riding tonight feels like riding just like any other night. So that's a good thing for me. I need to cut down on my eating. Pushing 200 pounds. Get tired out easier if you're heavier on your bike. Slows you down a little bit on the uphills too. Gotta work harder to push your own weight. You get more muscle mass in some ways though too. Definitely not ideally what you would want if you're going to win the Tour de France. I can't stand that either. All people on the highest end of bikes, on the highest end of drugs. Ego battling. And I'm not trying to take anything away from their riding, but it's just not for me. I would be so unhappy if I had to ride in a peloton. It just sucks. Like, I'm sure there's people that love it, but most people would probably hate it, because you're like riding right up someone's ass. And you need to be able to brake in like a quarter of a second. And it's even more than that. You need to have perception ahead of time just to be able to brake in time in that quarter of a second. And if you don't have that skill, you're going to crash the whole peloton. And you see it happening more and more in these Tour de France races too. Every year there's some huge peloton crash. Got that goober riding downhill with no hands on his blue bike. it's not even worth trying to pass people like that. I really need to remember the Vicks Vapor Rub trick for the winter. I forgot my last 2 rides. Breathing out your mouth is just not the same as being able to breathe out your nose. I'm gonna turn the exposure up on my next ride too. I'm gonna double it again because you can only double it on this camera anyway. You can only double it. Double my exposure and give it to my viewers. I need to give this bike a tune-up. It can't wait. Always smells like chocolate chips riding past here. I think there's like a baking factory or something. Always smells like chocolate. This person looks dangerous. Suppose it's a good bonding activity. You don't ever want to be riding like this though when you ride on the road straight. Keep her straight. You only want to swerve to avoid bumps. And even then, there's so many bumps, so much bad road that you'll never avoid it all. Listening to the do-ra-ra-ra theme right now. Not the opening theme. What's the song called again? Something the Extraordinary. I love this song though, it's such a trip. It's like a mix between xylophone, piano, lots of stuff. Well, there's a real psychedelic vibe to it, even though it's not your like typical psychedelic vibe, which I love. Like, I love the uniqueness of it. The sought after Extraordinary, I think the song's called. Had many a rip. I don't vape anymore, but I used to vape. Dry herb. Had many a rip to this song. The rare RNG of no cars. Give the wrists a little break, change the hand grip. It's amazing how just a couple seconds can reset you. Who the fuck was that? Carrot Top? Looked like Carrot Top pre-roid. Y'all know what it is. That's it. That's all. And remember, the same ride is never the same ride.